Today I'm doing some experimentation with the dyeing technique called Shibori. It is a Japanese technique and it quite literally means to wring. Mixed it up in warm water, put on some gloves and agitated it and wrung out for a good 10 minutes before I took them out and rinsed them. And the reason you do this is you want to remove the sizing from the fabric so that the dye will actually take to it. And I thought this would be fun because it has a very subtle pattern in it and used mostly for quilting. It's 100% cotton, but I thought wouldn't doing kind of tie-dye effect on top of this be kind of fun? So we'll see how that turns out. And I have to go ahead and start ironing all of these to press them. Now I'm only pressing with water. You don't want to use starch because that would be adding the sizing back into your fabric. I'm working outside today. It's a nice day, so I'm on my deck and I have the different fabrics here. Here's just a white cotton. I bought a white cotton t-shirt to work with. Here's the scarf that I purchased that did not need to have the sizing taken out of it. It already was ready to go. I have a linen and of course the patterned piece here that I'm anxious to see what will happen with that. I also laid out several different things that I'm going to be using. So in some of the Shibori, they actually tie in river rocks when they do it, and I don't have river rocks close by, so I have these saved. These are actually seeds from the pawpaw plant. So I'm going to use these instead of rocks. I've got rubber bands. I have my ruler because I will be making some lines and sewing some things as well. My needles. I have a heavier thread. I have sticks here, various kinds. And I also have a wax thread, which I thought might be great for tying some things. And I'm going to do like an accordion pleat on this one. So I might fold it in half one more time in the other direction. Just trying to make this fit. And I'm going to fold it in half one more time here. So I have these long paint sticks and I'm going to put them in like this, and then I'm going to tie it. I think I will use the wax string because the wax will also help to repel the dye. Fabric that I was really excited about just because it has a very subtle pattern in it, and I think a pattern on top of a pattern is kind of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and randomly stick some pawpaw seeds in here, and then I'm going to tie it up with rubber bands. So today I have the finished piece of what I did yesterday, and I just went along those wavy lines and created this. So hopefully where the stitching is, it'll be whiter in that area. And this one, I'm thinking I might use a squirt bottle to put some of the dye on it to kind of make those lighter lines even more prominent. So here is my full tray, and I can tell you it took hours to wrap all of this up. So it does take some time to do it and do it well. And the next part is the dyeing. Okay, so I am ready to dye. I ended up buying an indigo dye kit at a local art store rather than buying the individual components. So you had, and I used about half of it, which was still a lot because it would dye about 8 pounds of fabrics, and I only have 1.25 pounds. Here's the reduced indigo, pre-reduced indigo in a container, and the hydro. I'm not really sure what this is. I think it actually helps to keep the color in the fabric. But I have here soda ash, which was a type of salt that helps to make the indigo work. You need a tannin and you need salts in order to get your color to actually adhere to the fabric. You're supposed to leave the indigo sit for about an hour, which I did. Now it said you could start dyeing after 15 minutes. I don't know. So I went for the hour just to play it safe. Now the important part is too that you have to seal this right away after you're done mixing. Old hockey sticks are great for mixing, and you don't want the air to get to it. You want it to stay that kind of yellowish color to work. And as long as I'm done, when I'm done, I seal this up. It should last for a couple days if I decide I want to dye anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually probably the first thing I'll do is wet my fabric. Let's take this guy here. Now remember, this was the one that had a little bit of a pattern in it. And I'm going to go ahead and let that kind of soak and then remove my lid. And I have the kind that really seals down, which also means it's not always that easy to get off. Okay, and you can see there's kind of a film on the surface. Now it did say to mix this again. And it says that bloom that's sitting on the surface, which I doubt whether you can see on the camera, but it kind of looks like that, what you see on top of a water puddle on the road. You know how it gets kind of iridescent? That's what it looks like. So I'm gonna mix and pull this out. And it also says not to leave your fabric go to the bottom of the bucket, that can create spots and things, and that you should press out the excess water. And again, they say to kind of hold it above the surface and kind of squeeze it through. And it will take about 20 minutes of curing time for it to turn blue. So I'll be sitting it back on the tray and letting it turn blue. And they said you can re-dye this a couple times because it dyes lighter. And you can see it's not quite blue yet, but as it oxidizes, it will turn more blue. Well, you can see it turning blue. It's still a little green around the edges, and they said you might have to flip it over to get that blue. And that you can put it in a second time if you want, which I think I'm going to do. I really want the color, that blue color, to be very intense. Get this, and I moved plastic onto my deck floor to kind of protect the area because I tend to be kind of messy. And you don't want to get too much air into this. You want to kind of hold it down as far as you can because the air getting into it will oxidize your piece and it won't work as well.